Well, here we are for our incredible program today. Cannot wait to be featuring our esteemed faculty member, Angela Fowler, today. Unlocking Potential. We're going to boost engagement and revenue through the power of accessibility. And we have our accessibility guide and thought leader here. So cannot wait to jump in here. This is important, ladies. And here we are on the C-Suite Network, Women's Coaching and Consulting Council. I'm Kathleen Caldwell, founder of this council. Hey, I am doubling down on women coaches and consultants, trusted advisors, thought leaders, speakers, authors, and how we can make a bigger impact and make bigger income, okay? Because when we're making a bigger impact in the world, it's all a ripple effect. And so I am doubling down on this and tripling down, and you are in the right place, whether you're here in person, and we're so grateful that you're here in person, as well as watching our replay. So thank you. A quick review. Hey, we show the previews, we show the great movie, and then we show the highlights from the movie. But we had an incredible program last Thursday, every Thursday at 1 Eastern, Bridging the Divide. Hey, if you're read any sort of news feed or you're out in the world, you know that, hey, things are a little crazy. We've got some opportunities for more civility, more connection between people. Yes, last week's program was phenomenal about that. And you know, we're all about action, specific tactics, and strategies. We're not theory here, we get after it. So check out that broadcast. We also had a Halloween shadow party. I think we're one of the only Halloween shadow parties. Fantastic about what's the side of us that we can amplify in our superpower. So watch that replay. It was super good. Kathy Dirksen talked about stepping into new possibilities. Be sure to check that. It was great. Trisha Ben was all about, hey, the CEO mindset. How can we as coaches and consultants really get better connected to our CEO clients and look behind the curtain, so to speak? Trisha gave us some great insights on how to connect with CEOs. The CEO mindset was super fantastic. And of course, Deb Creer talking about adversity and how we can turn that into a global movement. Hello. Deb's passion project is, of course, cancer and helping people trying not to die, but instead live. So check that out. I did a great program on the Corporate Coaching Challenge. Hey, we want to land our corporate clients in 2025. So check that out too. And of course, Carol Kamimer talked about how to optimize your LinkedIn. We have a Gent Alliance starting, generous, enthusiastic, noble, and tenacious. And of course, Christina DiGiacomo talked about AI, Gloria St. Martin Lowry, how to build advocates, allies, and people in organizations to support us. And of course, our very own very wonderful person, Sheila Anderson, talked about supercharging your perseverance. How do we get more resilience? So thank you to you, Sheila. Beautiful program. These are all on our YouTube channel. We're now up to over 160 videos. It's a treasure trove of content. So we're very grateful to bring that to you. So our objectives today, and we are so grateful, Angela, that you are here. You're guiding us on this important topic. We're talking about what is accessibility, digital accessibility, physical accessibility, how it benefits you as a coach consultant, and how it impacts and positively impacts your clients, because we've got to have our radar up on our clients' needs, of course. The human effect and the business case, and the thing that Angela is also so smart about is the reputation impact. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Things that we don't know now, but now we will at the end of our program because Angela is going to share this with us. So a very quick definition, I'm going to turn it over to you, Angela, but I think it's so simple. I just did, some searching online that kind of a basic definition is, of course, accessibility ensures that all people, regardless of ability, can interact with the information or the services you provide. And Angela, I'd love for you to jump in and talk about your definition of accessibility, how you perceive it and what's on your mind about accessibility.
Well, thank you, Kathleen. Thank you for this opportunity to come and speak to everybody. So accessibility for me is it's being able to do what I need to do. I'm totally blind, and therefore I do not have the benefit of eyesight to navigate the world. So I use my other senses. I use my ears. I use my sense of touch. I use my sense of smell. Um, Stick your head in a building and determine whether or not it's the Starbucks. There are so many other ways that people with disabilities navigate the world, but when things are not accessible, when things do not allow for that other navigation, it doesn't work. So, for example, I like to focus on the website, on digital accessibility, because, and especially as coaches and consultants, your digital presence may well be people's first point of contact with you. So as a blind person, I use a screen reader, and Kathleen's going to link my screen reader demo to the if you're listening via the replay, you should have access to the screen reader demo. Um, if you're here, you probably already heard it. So the screen reader actually verbalizes what is on the screen. So the screen reader needs to know what information it needs to convey to us. So if you've got an image on the screen readers can't interpret images, so you have to have an alt text to describe the image. Things of that nature, videos. We listen to the soundtrack of a video. We can't see the video, so we listen to the video. So when a slide presentation is verbalized, when all the pertinent information on the slides are verbalized, that video is accessible. Now, disabilities aren't just blindness. People who are hard of hearing basically have the opposite problem. Their ear don't work, so they use their eyes to navigate. So when it comes to videos, they rely on transcripts and closed captions so they can read what's on the screen rather than just having to listen to it. Incidentally, that also helps people for whom English is a second language. People with motor difficulties, people who can't move their hands, can't use a mouse because their hands don't work the way that other people's hands do. They need things to be keyboard accessible. So do screen reader users. Keyboard accessibility is a big deal. So as you're thinking about your business and thinking about your clients and thinking about bringing value to your clients, let's explore ways that your clients can make their businesses accessible to people who use other forms of navigation. And the first thing you need to do is just make them aware, right? Because most people want to do the right thing. They just don't know what the right thing is. And if you've never met a blind person, if you've never, really talked to someone who's hard of hearing or who has a motor difficulty, it's not even going to cross your mind that accessibility is a concern.
Well, and Angela, I think we've discussed as well is for all of us to be thinking about, we have an aging population, of course, and accessibility has a great impact globally. And for us as trusted advisors to also be thinking about what's our why for this. And, just to share also that we've discussed this is how important it is to be thinking about, hey, our clients, our brick and mortar clients, what are their not only their digital accessibility, but of course, the physical accessibility as well, being able to get into their location. And we'll talk about that another time, but thinking about what our why is and why we'd be interested not only for ourselves, but also for our clients. And talk a little bit about that because that's really important. Why should people care? And I don't mean to be crass, but
Right.
why should people care?
Exactly. Why indeed? And people don't know how many people with disabilities are out there, but I say there's three kinds of people. There's people with disabilities, there's people that know people with disabilities, and there's people that don't know they know people with disabilities. About 25% of the population have the disability. And like you said, Kathleen, the population is aging. If you don't have a disability, I hope you one day do, because if you live long enough, you're going to.
Such a
Um,
great point, huh? Yeah,
so, and that population of people with disabilities commands over $2 trillion in buying power. That's a lot of money.
yeah,
Not only that, but we have influence over our friends and family, right?
yeah.
We persuade them to buy from a company or not buy from a company. And the things that you do to make your business accessible to people with disabilities are going to make it more user friendly for everybody. I use the example of a website. If you log onto a website, there's a bunch of clutter, there's a bunch of distractions, there's images, or that what are those things called? Things that move and blink, and videos that play automatically. Or if the layout is just disorganized, you can't find anything. That is an accessibility barrier for people with disabilities, but it's also an accessibility barrier for everybody. People that are in a hurry, people that aren't good at technology, people that aren't familiar with the site. So
And
the
a lot
two
of these things slip through DEI initiatives, and within corporate, it's not necessarily top of mind, although it is starting to be, which is great.
would think that you would think that it would be a part of DEI initiatives, but it's not.
Yeah,
Um, it's not, and it really should be, because if you have a DEI budget, that is something that you can spend that money on, that will truly level the playing field for people.
yeah.
And accessibility is ubiquitous. Um, you might ask, how is accessibility relevant to me? I do this, and this. I'm a massage therapist. Okay, but you have a website. You use social media, you advertise. Um, as far as coaching and consulting goes, what are you teaching your clients to do? Are you teaching your clients to brand their businesses? Are you teaching their clients to utilize LinkedIn better? Are you teaching, just thinking of the different things that Kathleen was mentioning? Um,
Even to buy off our shopping carts, Angela, of course.
well, you want your clients to be able to give you money, right?
Right.
And your clients want their clients to be able to give them money. So an accessible business is a prosperous business. And if you can incorporate the basic why of accessibility into your coaching program, it is a tremendous value add. And my challenge to you is to book some time with me, because I want to talk to each and every one of you about a potential partnership wherein we can work together to teach accessibility to your clients.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to do it alone. People have asked me, when I worked for the Department of Veterans Affairs, the contracting company, people would say, "Gosh, Angela, I know it's so important that things are accessible, but I don't know anything about accessibility." You don't have to know anything hardly about accessibility to be an accessibility advocate. All you need to do is explain the why and plug them into the right resources. And I can help you with that.
Angela, so wise, because the things that we've also talked about, and I know you share as a podcast guest in your white paper that's about to be published, in everything that you're doing, in your talks that you do for organizations and associations and for coaches and consultants, is that accessibility, it has the business benefits of customer engagement, satisfaction, influence, and for us as coaches and consultants, we get to be the partner and the gateway to, so to speak, to companies having all of these better metrics if their businesses are more accessible. Thoughts on that? Because we've talked about that quite a bit.
Well, you've all heard of cart abandonment, right? That's basically where somebody starts to buy from you, puts things in their cart, and then leaves. Cart abandonment is reduced significantly if the business is accessible. Um, if people can even find the cart. I've been on websites where I'm not even sure what the product is that I'm buying.
And customer service accessibility, of course, as well, when we're thinking about digital.
Well, absolutely.
Yeah.
And there is you have to make it easy for people. I had to do something with my ButcherBox subscription today. And it took me literally 30 seconds to change my subscription because it was easy to find, it was easy to figure out what I was supposed to do. Um, whereas there's another company that I trade with frequently. Every time I need to change my subscription, I have to talk to customer service because the website it's not intuitive, it's difficult. I have no idea how to do it on the website. And I've been using technology all my life. And of course, every time I talk to customer service, I have to explain why I want to push it back, and I have to listen to the script that they have to read to me about how on and on, and it's a process,
Absolutely.
you
So
know.
for us
So
being aware of that,
yeah, that's just it. They're probably not. Well, they're. I doubt they're even aware that their site's not accessible. And that's definitely, we're targeting um clients like that, customers like that, because if we can get in front of them and if we can explain the why of accessibility, if we can explain, look, this is the experience that your customers are having. We don't need to say be accessible because it's the law. We don't need to say that. People already know that accessibility is the right. If it, and I was telling somebody yesterday, we don't even need to explain to people that accessibility is the right thing to do. If we were to hold a national election, vote up, vote down on accessibility, the overwhelming majority of people would vote it up. Accessibility is the right thing. Everybody knows that. What they don't know is exactly what needs to happen to make a business accessible. They don't know the specific barriers that are getting in people's way.
yeah, yeah. So Angela, why don't we get into that and talk a little bit about some of the tactical parts of this? Because you've talked about, uh, things like alt text, closed caption, accessible signatures. Let's jump into that because you could tell us more about what does all that mean. For some of us, that's like speaking a foreign language. And please share with us, what does
Right.
all this mean?
So Alt text is basically the text description. You know, when you're uploading an image to your website and you see an edit box that says enter alt text, and you're like, what the heck is that? That text is what a screen reader reads to tell blind people what the image is. You know, I was talking to somebody the last week, and they were like, I was wondering who read that. Yeah, people just don't know. No, blind people read it. Now, as an added bonus for you, if you have alt text, if your images have alt text, they're going to rank a lot higher in search. Your website's going to rank higher in search engines. It's going to be more findable. Same goes with other accessibility features. An accessible website is a findable website. Now, signatures. Paperwork, paperwork, paperwork. Short of getting rid of paperwork, which we all wish we could do, let's work together to make it accessible. Now, the two greatest barriers are one, PDF forms. It is extremely difficult to make a PDF form accessible. If you're requiring a PDF form and you didn't go through blazes and back to make it accessible, it's probably not accessible. But the good news is you never have to have a PDF form again. You can use things like Google Forms, you can use DocuSign, you can use there's a bunch of different accessible form creators that you can use that actually make web-based forms. And then there's the signature. You know, sometimes you just need to sign a contract.
And with digital, everything digital now, that this is so incredible. It's critical to compliance and also to having it be easy for people to sign things.
Well, when you go digital, you get rid of the paper, the ink signature. And ink signatures are inherently inaccessible. So you get rid of that, but the question becomes, what do you replace it with? So sometimes you might replace it with something that requires a signature be drawn in with a mouse. And that's not accessible. Blind people don't do mouses, and a lot of sighted people I talk to don't think much of it either. So the feature needs to allow you to type in your signature, or something like DocuSign is an acceptable alternative because you can set up your signature once and then just apply it. Adobe Sign is actually pretty good too. Adobe Forms are horrible, but if you've got a contract, you use Adobe Sign. That's actually an acceptable, as long as I don't have to fill out anything else, as long as I can just sign it, then we're good. There's also a e-signature is a service that is not, it doesn't have all the bells and whistles that DocuSign has. It's a lot cheaper, and it has been accessible. I haven't used it in a while, so unless they broke it, it's still accessible. So yeah, if you want people to get their paperwork done on time, my name is Angela. I procrastinate. I hate filling out paperwork. And when I finally sit down to do it, if it's accessible, it'll get done. If it's not accessible, maybe not so much.
And Angela, as founder of Real Life Access, these are things that you and your team do, is to help companies be able to create all of these, documents and forms and their web presence and their whole systems have everything be accessible. That's correct, right?
Yeah, so we can take a deep dive. My calendar link is in the chat. It's going to be for those of you listening. to the replay. It's going to be linked somewhere in the description.
Exactly.
I can talk to you one-on-one about your business, and we can develop a plan to begin the process of making your business accessible, because it is a process. People get overwhelmed when they think about accessibility. And I want to reassure you, look, nobody expects everything to be done overnight. There's two objections. And my son said it best. I was talking with my 18-year-old son about why people don't invest in accessibility. And because, he basically echoed what I said. People know it's the right thing to do. And I said, okay, so why don't they invest? And he goes, because they don't have the time and they don't have the money. So let me answer both of those objections. It doesn't have to, not everything is going to be done overnight. It's going to be a process. So if you're worried about budgetary constraints, if you can't if you can't overhaul your website right now, you might not need to. You might not even need to. Your website might actually be doing pretty good and you might not know it. But you don't know until you find out. But let's say there's accessibility problems. We can do what I call harm reduction, which is basically fixing the biggest mistakes first.
And
This way,
also with internal documents as well, and the whole flow within an organization, Angela, correct?
yeah.
Yeah. So baking these processes and helping clients have not only an accessibility mindset, but also the processes and the procedures to actually make this part of their system is really what I know for sure is that's your expertise, you and your teams. So this is really great. How about, Angela, let's pause for any questions, comments uh, about, this accessibility. It's a big thing. It's really big and only getting bigger day by day. Yeah.
I love this. Thank you so much, Angela, for sharing your wisdom and bringing this very important um, thing to light. You think you know, right? You think you know what it's like for everybody else, but you don't. And my work in personal branding, I go back to like, how do you want people to experience you? And that ties into exactly what you're doing. It's how do you want everybody to experience your business and how are they experiencing it? Is it is accessibility part of it, or do you even think about it? And for a lot of us, we haven't thought about it. Um,
Yep.
I do the alt text the best I can, on a social media post or different things that I post on a website. I don't know if I have enough information that I'm putting in the alt text. I think I have enough information that makes it, relevant for people to understand what the photo is like. So I do try and do that, but there's so much more. I mean, just thinking about and you talked about your website. I don't know if my website is accessible. I don't know if my website designer even thought about that, and nor did I think about asking them. So you bring so much value to not just our coaches and consultants and advisors, but just to businesses in general, right? To be able to work with them and to start thinking about that. And their forms, I mean, I get frustrated trying to do an e-signature myself. I can't even imagine.
I hear that all the time.
Well, I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm frustrated. I can't even imagine what that's like. So just there's so much to think about. And then it's like, where do you start? Like, when you said you help people figure out where do I start? What are the top 3 things that I can work on or I can do to start making my business more accessible. I love the signature thing because a lot of us require signatures on our contracts. And how are we getting those signatures? You know, I mean, just thinking about that. Um, and again, like the website and like the alt text. So those are some things. And I took notes for myself because you had a lot of great information. So thank you for sharing your wisdom.
Well, and you know, and I'd like to book a one-on-one with you at some point. I think there's some things that we can do together. But you know, you don't know what you don't know.
Mm.
I tell people, you know, we all look at things through the lens of our own experience until and unless something comes along to broaden that lens. So, you know, once it does, you know, we just incorporate the new information into our thought process and into the way we do things. And eventually accessibility becomes second nature. It's not Accessibility isn't somewhere you get to. Accessibility is something you do.
And Angela, you have also, as we complete our time here, you've also humanized this for all of us because I think many of us, as you were saying, we don't know what we don't know. And you, as a thought leader, you're exposing us to information and to knowledge and to experiences that we don't have. So I appreciate you very much for widening our horizon about what's possible so that we can be more inclusive, truly inclusive, not just say it, but actually do it. And I just want to also pop on the screen that for people to book a mini plan with you, put together I think you shared about 30 minutes to actually put together a mini plan to discuss your accessibility plan and where you are and where coaches and consultants can go, and also keeping in mind our clients, because I think we add so much value to the relationship we have with our clients when we can be the trusted advisor and introduce our clients, our corporate clients, our business clients, association organizations to you. So even, they can get out of hot water too, because there's some legal implications that people do not know that you've explained to us in other webinars as well. It's a big deal.
There are legal implications, and I don't it's reality. I try not to lead with it because I want people to become accessible because it's the right thing to do, not because they're trying to avoid a lawsuit. Because you know, generally, I mean, if somebody, you know, tells me I have to do something, I'm going to do just as much as I have to do, and then I'll finally be done with that and it'll be over with and it's out of my life. But if I'm doing something because I want to do it, then I'm truly invested. But yeah, the reality is there are legal ramifications accessible, and there's ways to protect against that. If you are working on accessibility with an accessibility consultant, and you have an accessibility statement that says, "Look, we know this. There's some issues with this site. We're working on it. This is what we're doing. This is our plan." The you are far less likely to get sued. Um, Civil rights attorneys are looking for one of two things. They're looking for righteous cases and they're looking for easy wins. And if you're not, you know, blatantly discriminating against people, you're working to solve the problem, you want to make things better, then most people aren't going to see it as a righteous case. Also, if you're working to make things better, then most attorneys aren't going to see it as an easy win because the judge can say, well, these people are working on it. Why are you suing them? You know, be patient.
And you have, Angela, people on your team that specialize in that, so
Yeah.
yeah. And so we would love everyone watching the replay and of course our wonderful attendees and participants book a time with Angela and put together a little mini accessibility plan because Angela, you're starting a global movement to make business accessible.
Make business accessible. That's right.
That's right.
Because an accessible business is a prosperous business.
And we get to do good by doing good, right, Angela?
Right. You
Yes.
can do
Yeah,
good and make more money at the same time. I
absolutely.
mean, does it get better?
Absolutely. So Angela, thank you for this fantastic program. And
Thank you for
we're
giving me the opportunity.
so grateful. Parting words, Angela, anything else before we complete our time with you? Book that time, folks. That wonderful little mini plan is going to be a great use of your time.
I can't say this definitively, but I can say probably it's not going to be as hard as you think. It's not going to be as expensive as you think. And it's not going to take as much time out of your life as you think.
So together we can make business accessible.
Let's make business accessible.
Good. Well, thank you. Thank you. Deep bow to you, Angela Fowler. You're doing fine work. We're so grateful to you. And thank you to you, Sheila, for being on and being so engaged and such a great participant. And we're on a mission here, folks. So reach out to Angela. Check her out on LinkedIn as well, X, and also YouTube. You've got a lot of social channels, Angela, as well.
I'm gonna have to send you. I think I sent you the link to all those social channels.
All right, we'll do some posting on our Women's Coaching and Consulting Council.
All right.
Yes. So with that, thank you, thank you. We've got great upcoming programs. We can't wait to see you every Thursday at 1 o'clock Eastern. So bye for now. Thank you. Let's make business accessible, right?
Let's do it.
Okay. Bye-bye. Thank you.